Well, folks, we all know what happened over the weekend. Someone took a big chunk out of the taco trade. Major implications for U.S. striking Iran, oil stocks, defense stocks, travel stocks. We will cover it all on this pre-market prep. And what a time to talk IPOs, IPO frenzy on Wall Street. We'll cover those with Eric Krull at 8:35. It's just me and Triple D running the show today, folks. So get ready. It's pre-market prep on a Monday.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Right, let's get right to it, folks. We're down two handles. Last week's low, vigorously defended. You can see that big green bar on the 6 p.m. open last night. Buck getting a little bit of strength here, up 68 cents. Nice rally, four higher lows. So trying to get back to par. TLT in the green by 22 cents at 86.71. Oil up, USO up, but way off the highs along with some of the oil stocks. GLD up a $1.10, 311.23, consolidating after that new all-time high. Silver flat, just under 33, the SLV. Bitcoin kind of quietly drifting back towards 100K. We're down about 2K at 101,500. Triple D coming on the stage right now. You or I were on the closing print on fire on Friday. There wasn't much. Not a huge quad witch, but boy, oh boy, a lot of other things going on. Good morning to you, Dennis.
Just so much going on. I mean, not really so much Friday, but obviously over the weekend, we see the attacks on the nuclear stations in Iran. Everybody predicts the worst. Again, the song remains the same. On the weekend, it's going to be Black Monday. Market's going to crash. Somebody's saying Wall Street, weekend Wall Street, which I don't know if I follow that, and I don't know if you should be following that because they were saying the markets are down so much on weekend Wall Street, guessing as well that we were going to have at least a 1.5 or 2% fall in the S&P, and then you had oil up 6%. I mean, just ridiculous moves here. The fade trade continues to be the play. The people who chase stocks getting beats here this morning, deservedly so. I mean, last night, somebody tweets out on Robinhood, ExxonMobil was trading up 6% on Robinhood last night. Can't short on Robinhood, which is probably why it wants to trade up 6% on Robinhood. But I tweeted out last night, if you are buying Robinhood or if you're buying ExxonMobil up 6% on a Sunday night on Robinhood, you're probably on the wrong side of the trade. And you absolutely were, because ExxonMobil is up only 1.6% here now. So it's come in significantly from where it was trading last night. I don't know when they're going to allow you to short stocks. Do they allow you to short stocks on Robinhood? I don't think they do. I don't have Robinhood, but when you see these huge moves on Robinhood, a lot of times it's because shorts aren't there to keep the prices in check. So just keep that in mind when you're chasing and saying, I got to buy ExxonMobil at any price. Keep in mind that arbitrage still works. When you have XLE trading up 2% and ExxonMobil trading up 6%, there's probably an arbitrage opportunity of significant proportions. But this is just, FOMO. People getting in there. I got to get in oil right now. The end of the world's happening here. And it doesn't. So cooler heads often prevail. The selling of the S&P last night, which it did open down 60 handles, Joel. So we were down on the S&P quite significantly.
But it was like this. I just want to illustrate what Dennis is talking about, okay? ExxonMobil, even if you go out to the 100-day average range for the stock, it gets up to 2.5 points. That's the day. You want to talk about a monthly move? So far, the entire monthly move in this stock. It's had a pretty moved around pretty good, 14 points. But when you have an average daily range in a stock of 2 to 2.5 points, and it's trading up over 6 points, the math just doesn't work in your favor. It's going up 7, going up 8. I mean, you would I don't even know what kind of scenario you could have where
Well, that
it would
scenario
trade.
could exist, but
I don't
I
know.
was looking at the other stocks and I'm like, ExxonMobil's up twice as much as all the other ones. Why? Probably just because, on Robinhood, the first one you think about, ExxonMobil with oil. And, markets are thin. So we're just trying to teach you guys some stuff. Markets are thin on these Robinhood sessions. They're thin. They don't allow shorting. So prices can get very out to lunch. So, I'm just warning people who are trading on this kind of stuff that, you've got to kind of look around a little bit, maybe see what other oil stocks are doing. Because when you're buying the one that's up 6 and the others are up 3, you're probably on the wrong side of the trade as well. And ExxonMobil is thicker than the other ones. It usually doesn't move as much as the other ones. Its beta is actually less than the other oils. So, we're just giving you different, opportunities, but not all opportunities. Just trying to tell you, things don't always trade for what they're worth on Robinhood on a Sunday night. You see some crazy moves.
Right. And also we've been following it with JV Spec. I mean, the Straits of Hormuz. There's been no, let's finish up the macro here. There's been no retaliation by Iran. We're claiming this much damage. They're claiming not as much damage. It's all out war. We don't know what what they're gonna do next, but right now you got that lower open. You got the rebound, and it's just another quiet day on Wall Street here. We're down five
Yeah,
and
show
three
the
quarters.
S&Ps, Joel, last night. So the futures.
Yeah, yeah. Let me show you.
Just going to
Yep,
bring the futures up here because this move it opened at the low, Joel. And how
yep.
long was it down there for? This is
Well,
6 o'clock. So futures open at 6 p.m. on Sunday night. We opened 60 handles down. And how long were we down there for?
that's a 5-minute bar.
So we rallied. How much is that candle bar rallying?
That 5-minute candle bar is boom, 40 handles.
We rallied 40 handles in 5 minutes.
Let's go to 4 minutes.
They could not wait to buy the dip. It opened and they just could not wait. They were all over it. Buy the dip, wins again. Sell the rip, wins again. I mean, the fade trade, the fade year. Keep in mind what I said at the beginning of the year, my acronym, fade. This is making my year. It's not chasing stocks, it's fading stocks. It's the year of the contrarian. Yes, we went straight up in April and May, but the beginning of April, we went straight down. So if you're just fading, you are trading, man. That is the play. That continues to be the play. It killed it last night. Fading meaning buying the dip and selling the rip. That's what fading basically is. Taking the other side of ridiculous moves. Last night's open down 60 handles, too low. Fade trades win. They get 60 handles if they held to this point because we've got all the losses back. Then you look at the oil, same thing, up 6% last night. Bring up the oil futures, Joel. Or if you want to just bring up, USO,
USO,
that way.
Yep.
Same thing, up significantly, and we give it back. So this is, USO obviously doesn't trade the 24-hour market there, so you won't see the big 6% move maybe that you saw in the futures.
84.78.
Can you see futures? Do you have oil futures?
I don't have the crude.
No,
84.7. You still got 84.78. It's still $1.20 off its high. I mean, that was it just the 8 o'clock bracket. So, but if you got up at if you were so inclined to get up at 4 a.m., I mean, it traded up to well over $84. You could have had all the stock you wanted. There was about 60,000 shares traded in that 4 to 415 bracket. But you know what? We could just look at the oil stocks real quick on a basis. I mean, I'm not investment advice, but I don't think you're going to see those pre-market highs. I really like this formation here. Let's hold 115. That was the breakout area. Now it comes down, see if that acts as support. CVX, same thing, triple top here at 150. See if it's a gap and go, or if you get a chance to buy it back at 150. Of course, this will plays on escalation, but there were other stocks that were just trading at outrageous prices, Dennis. And I think right now the biggest one, Lockheed Martin, the
And I'm not
defense.
sure it was outrageous. Lockheed Martin maybe wasn't even the one that was outrageous. Lockheed
Okay.
Martin up 10, and obviously it's giving it back because the fade trade is working. But RTX, and I was long some RTX obviously on the close. I did sell it last night on the IB. I think I maybe have to get a Robinhood account because I think these Robinhooders get better prices than the IB does. But obviously can't short on Robinhood, so that makes a big difference. But RTX last night was trading 153. So that's where it was. And obviously Robinhood IB have the same market maker. I don't have the Robinhood quotes, I have the IB quotes, but it was actively trading up at 153. So I was able to get out up there. I actually got short up there too. I've covered it here this morning already. It was a great trade. Stock is where now? 148.50. So we've come all the way back in. I mean, this is just the excitement. This is like people are like, oh, I got to get in these stocks. Chasing just hasn't worked. And we saw this happen a week ago. All these stocks were trading up over the weekend because escalation had happened, and then they came back in. I think the war trade remains on, though. So I'm not saying like all these trades are going right back down and it's over. These are escalation, de-escalation, but there are pockets where they get, overbought, oversold, even on a day trading basis or an overnight basis. Last night overnight, people got too excited buying RTX up 5%. It was too much. People get too excited buying ExxonMobil up 6%. It was too much. But it doesn't mean that the trade's over. It doesn't mean ExxonMobil can't see 121 again here. I'm just not seeing it today. But if we continue to get escalation, the oil trade is still hot. The valuations are still reasonable. I mean, this war trade could remain on. And, even though I've, not long anymore, I think, I'll probably be trading it again overnight because there seems to be probably going to be some type of retaliation here by Iran. Like, do you think Iran's just going to sit back and not do anything and say, one and done, that's okay, we're done? Or do you think they retaliate? I mean, I think there's probably going to be some type of retaliation here. And that's why the war trade probably still remains on, but it doesn't mean you can't take it on and off. So at this point in time, I'm off the war trade, but stocks dip back down, I put them back on.
Also, I mean, to gauge the retaliation, where's Russia stands, where's China stands, that, further escalation in the Ukraine, Russia war, which is now kind of being a little bit out of focus here. There's a lot of different scenarios that could happen. I think one scenario that we would like to happen that I don't not looking very good is de-escalation, and we were looking at no better looking than at the USO or the oil futures we were talking about on Friday on the closing show. They weren't giving in. I mean, even though there's abundance of, we can pump here, we can pump, the supply is here. It's all about the perception of what's going on. So that's it. Is anything else you wanna as far as the war trade? We did the oil stocks, we did the defense stocks.
I mean, the
Anything else?
airlines, we haven't been talking much about the airlines and cruise lines, but they are obviously moving the opposite directions. Airlines are down here today. Two reasons. If oil goes up, obviously, it's the biggest expense for airlines is fuel. So that's the direct cost. The indirect is people are nervous to travel in wartime. So that's another hit. So if you're thinking about, other types of war trades, short airlines is a war trade, so, and obviously cruise lines as well. If we look this morning, we can see Carnival Cruise Lines trading down, RCL trading
Slightly.
down. People are nervous to travel during times of war and times of escalation. They're going to stay home. I don't know what's happening. I'm not going on that trip to Europe right now because I don't know what's happening. That is, other trades that are there. There's so many trades to think about with this. And I mean, it's always something driving the bus. It was tariffs for 3 months straight. Now it's the war trade. That is where we're at. S&Ps went green, by the way.
Yep, flat. It's gonna be a battle of unchanged. Also, just staying on that, Carnival Cruise Lines reports on Tuesday before the open, and I think they report at like 9 o'clock because I always think that like we talk about covering on the show. and then it's during the like around 9 o'clock. So we got Carnival Cruise Lines to report. Just another
Tomorrow.
thing,
That's
just
tomorrow.
tomorrow
Yeah.
morning. Just also just staying on this theme of expectations in the market. One thing I like to take note of is the average daily range in the S&Ps encompassing the 24-hour market. Going back. Well, the average daily range in the S&Ps 9-day average trading range is 82 handles. We already traded 80 handles. We have traded the expected range. Does that mean that we're not busting out over 60.39 and going back to the high of the move? No. Does that not mean that we're not going to come down? If we took out the low of the day today, that would be a pretty bad sign. But just keeping expectations of stocks when you're trading, whether you're trading pre-market, whether you're trading after hours in the regular session, you just got to look at the market, the ARVs, the statistics is what data spaces is trading on in the long run. Even with all this craziness that's going on, the math can let the math work for you, but not against you. As I said, not much in earnings this week. The highlight will be Micron after the close on Wednesday. Dennis, that stock has been on fire.
Yeah, I want to go not to Micron here though, Joel. I'm going to take the
Hims.
lead here because there's so many other
Hims.
stories. We'll come back. You know where we're going. Yeah, I got to scold Joel when he goes away from the big story of the morning, and it is Hims. Hims and Hers falls 19% here right now down 20% after the pact with Novo Nordisk has ended. So they ended NVO. The reason they're terminating it, Novo terminates collaboration with Hims and Hers due to concerns about their illegal mass compounding and deceptive marketing. That is coming from NVO. That's a tough like statement there. Concerns about their illegal mass compounding and deceptive marketing. Wow. So saying some really bad stuff. B of A, give some applause to B of A here. They came out with a rating here earlier this morning, like 5 a.m. Gave a price target of $28 and saying the core revenue growth year over year has slowed sharply. So B of A reiterated their underperform. This was before all this happened. So it's not like Johnny like chasing here. This was actually before this. $28 price target, talking about core revenue slowing 45%, estimate ongoing shift. They're not saying anything good here. So Hims down. Now, this is a retail darling. Like retail loves this stock, meaning I shouldn't say retail, but social media loves this stock. Loves. They're all on it on Twitter. They're all over it. People are saying it's going to $500, $1,000 a share. I see it all the time on my timeline. So I don't know what that means, but it's obviously not a good day for any of those traders. One thing is, though, these traders do tend to kind of try to come in and buy the dip on this. But man, this is some bad press here coming from NVO on Hims. And I'll set it out for now, but it looks like it's trying, at 50 here to find a little bit of a bottom. But I'm setting this one out, not making a call on this one.
Okay, this had a big run. Is a company responded at all? I know this is it's pretty new,
Well, it
but
happened 10 minutes ago.
yeah, I mean that's
no.
pretty. That's
Companies don't respond in 10 minutes, Joel.
get that PR department wake them up, get them
Joel's
out of
there.
bed.
You'd have him responding 10 minutes later.
Oh man, that phone must be. Those are some serious accusations here. Where I drew this line here is pretty close to the pre-market low of 49.50. That's the current low. You're buck above it. I mean, you got an area there. You had the big rally up back in May, and then just a couple days of consolidation. So there was some buying interest in this area back. This is going to be the moment of truth in this bar. Had a huge range, a day where it had a $10 range. Right now, that low is being defended. This area is probably, if you had an overnight short or some puts or something, put some low ball bids in here. But they hit this, they hit it hard, and right now it's bouncing. But keep an eye on the pre-market low. Novo Nordisk, I mean, they're having their problems of their own here. They had a bad results from an obesity drug trial. And they're trading on the lows of the pre-market session, not sniffing the bid here. So not a good day for either of these stocks. NVO down over $4. You have your 50-day moving average down a little bit lower. It's 68.26. And didn't Lilly have some problems on Friday, Dennis? Oh, Lilly had a horrible week. So,
Horrible day on Friday.
yeah, horrible. I
I mean,
mean,
this
eight.
weight loss drug story, of 2024, and it was 2023, 2024, and they were just buying these weight loss drugs hand over fist and ripping them up, and PEs going to 50, 60 times on Lilly. I mean, the story has went cold. It's not over by any means. People still using these drugs. I'm not going to say the story is over, but the story is ice cold. People are just, the media is not talking about this anymore. And it's just tariffs taking over, Trump has taken over. They get no PR, no headlines on this whatsoever. So story has gone cold on the weight loss drugs. And we know, obviously, I had the VKTX, got hit on that one. But, multiple other ones. GPCR was another one. It's been, dinged really hard. But Lilly and Novo maybe more than any of them. I mean, NVO ran from 60 to 140. It fully gave it all back. Now, Lilly did not. Lilly ran from about 300 to almost 1,000 and is only back at 762, has not given it all back. Novo trading 18 times forward earnings, which seems somewhat reasonable. I mean, some of these bigger drugs are only 10 times, so you got to give that perspective. But Lilly's still trading 35 times forward earnings. The PE on Lilly is still insane for a drug stock. So they better start picking it up again. Some of these trials better start working because that valuation is extreme. Just comparatively speaking, which we've been talking about in the STN room. You look at Merck. Merck is trading eight, not 18, 8 times forward earnings. I'm just going to go through a few of them because this is important sometimes. Just get the relative valuations of big pharma. Pfizer is trading 8 times forward earnings. They absolutely hate pharma stocks, but Lilly's got the pass because of the obesity drugs. Even if you go into biotech, 13 times for Gilead. Well, Biogen's has been a place where everybody hates it forever. It's 8 times. I mean, a lot of these drug stocks are just so ridiculously cheap. But the reason they keep going down here is this administration is hell-bent on bringing drug prices down. So that's, a huge headwind for these companies in the next 3.5 years. The other thing is that they're just out of favor. And there's so many momentum traders that are in this market. If the stock's below its 200-day moving average, nobody touches it. And the value traders are all burned on it. So, I'd like to own Merck, Bristol Myers, and some of these in my long-term portfolio. But I'm I don't know. With the headwinds coming and drug pricing going down, that they start putting caps on drug pricing, or who knows what could happen. We don't have full details on how they're going to bring that pricing down. These stocks could end up going lower yet. So, I mean, the headwinds here from the administration are an issue for big pharma. But big pharma, some of these stocks are as cheap as they've ever been. Lilly is not one of those.
The IBB, the weekend trade there, Dennis, kind of quiet, up 18 cents. Just no news that's topping the Iran, the bombing of Iran. S&P's just hanging out flat here. We got to get to Tesla here, rolling out the robo taxi. It's traded up 359 here, 325.70. So they're liking it. But our Tesla analyst here, Dennis Dick, he wasn't so impressed by that rollout.
No, I really wasn't actually. I mean, the stock is trading up 1%, which is good news. Everybody's excited about this robo-taxi, but I watched videos over the weekend there, and I don't know, so you got a robo-taxi, you have Waymos running around with nobody in the car. Now these things are teleoperated, and they even have a safety driver in the passenger seat. I mean, I'm just not impressed whatsoever. We've had a lot of years to work on this, and obviously they're not confident in the ability for the cars to not get in an accident, or they wouldn't have a safety driver sitting in the passenger seat. I mean, I find it, the whole experience of a robo-taxi is to be in a car by yourself. And now all of a sudden, no, you don't have a driver, but there's going to be somebody sitting over there that you don't know. Well, that doesn't feel that great. I don't know what the plan is to get rid of that person sitting in the passenger seat. But I know all the people on Twitter are all excited and saying, oh my gosh, this is so cool. The cars are driving themselves. Well, Waymo's way cooler because they're driving themselves with nobody in the car. So, I mean, they're geo-fenced. Obviously, they aren't using LiDAR, which is maybe why they got to have the person sitting there. I don't know, or maybe the new cars are using LiDAR. We don't even know it, the robo-taxis. But I'm not impressed whatsoever. So I own Tesla in the long-term account. I'm planning on holding some of those shares forever because I made enough that it's just a small portion piece left. But I mean, this was the big event. This was like the thing that, they've been talking about forever and ever and ever. But honestly, I'm not impressed whatsoever with this rollout. I would have been impressed. They were saying originally that there wouldn't even be a gas pedal or a steering wheel in the robotaxi. Well, that's all there too. So I mean, I think it's like way behind Waymo at this point in time. And that's concerning because Tesla's been working on this for a long time, lots of time to think about it. Maybe the worst thing they ever did was get rid of the LiDAR because obviously Waymo's gone a long ways with just LiDAR. But the Tesla bulls are out there. They're in full. We know valuation doesn't matter at all. We know Optimus is eventually coming, but it's probably 5 years away. I think its story maybe is still hot as hell here and carries the stock. The chart looks okay to me. So I don't think the chart looks bad. So I'm not saying I'm coming out here and selling my stock. I'm just saying I'm not impressed at all. So I'm probably not trading it today. I was long it over the weekend. I sold it already because I don't know. I don't know if it can build on this.
I think that it's maybe it's a little bit of a relief pop. Like, oh, are they going to delay it again? Right? Um,
Maybe.
yeah, in that, I mean, of the top components of the S&P, I mean, this is your standout winner, up 1.3% with the S&Ps here currently flat on the session, so exhibiting good relative strength right now. I'm just going to stick to my guns in this stock right now and just once again focus on that area where you had all kinds of support in May, right? You broke down through that level when he was having his little tiff with the president. They kissed and made up. Boom. Memory price has a memory, goes right back up to that area. You had successive highs here, 4 or 5 lows here, 4 or 5 highs here. Let's pin the high of last week here. The high of last week, 332.99. That whole area, I'd say right now, until the bulls can establish a bid here, a strong bid above that level, got to look working on a red candle for the month. So that's what you got with Tesla. Trading up nicely just off the high pre-market high. Friday size up there too. This 332, 336 area. If it starts to pull in, you can look at unchanged on the session at 322.16.
This is a wild card for me, so I'm not making a call on this at all. Like some
Okay.
people are saying, here's Dennis talking with Gordon Johnson again. I'm still long the stock. So I still think the long-term thesis is intact here. But there's just been a lot of execution problems here. And obviously, we know the brand damage was real. We know the cars aren't selling. I mean, where were you, Joel, where you saw the parking lot of Tesla cars? Where were you when you were away like 3 weeks
I
ago?
was in New Jersey. I was in
And so,
and it
go
was
ahead.
just stacked up. And I have another
But not
comment
only just
on.
stacked up, it was like the Tesla lot was full and was so full that they had the place next door full of Teslas, correct?
Yes, and to add to that, they opened up a Tesla dealership near me on Orchard Lake, huge. And the city made them enclose the lot and everything. It was a big brouhaha. But now I read that they are storing cars over at another parking lot, which is right down the street. That they're storing unsold cars. So I don't know. It's more the car company. It is a car company. We don't know, but right now, the brand tarnishing that he did, which he tried to undo, the stock has gotten a relief pop. But I mean, it's just waiting for a catalyst, right? And we have a ways
Well, we
before
have a
earnings.
catalyst right here today.
Yep.
The catalyst right here today. So let's see what happens. Very important day for Tesla. You do not want to see it go red here today. It's a very, very important day that this builds on this and the excitement of robotaxi actually being out there and running. And and the rides are cheaper. What about Uber and Lyft off this? Uber's down a little bit. Lyft is down a little bit. Not much though, because the rides were $4.20 in Austin for anywhere. And apparently some of similar rides people were tweeting out like on Uber or Lyft were $12 or $13. So they're significantly undercutting the price as well for Uber and Lyft. Now it's in one city, but I mean, if Tesla can continue to roll out, then, I still think long term, this is not great news for Uber or Lyft. So what do you think of the Uber chart? Give us technicals there.
I was just looking. Well, Lyft, if Lyft does what Lyft does, and that's faded. I think you got a really great area of support here. I think the bulls are still in control. This $82 level, several lows in this area. Last week, you're low at 82.31. You have your 50-day moving average right there at right at this area. So. But the bad thing is like it's hanging out here too long, right? When you're at support and then, here you got a nice bounce off it. Here you got a little bit of a bounce. So long term, short term, I'll be keeping an eye on that $82 level for Uber. Bad week, trading in the red today. Lyft got way head over heels on this. Back at over $17. I believe that was earnings. That's coming down. So it's bad news, in the short term here. But these stocks, Uber's been, has been a strong stock, been a big performer. I don't know, head and shoulders here, top. I don't know.
I don't like the chart at all. I
No,
think
it
the
looks
Uber
heavy.
chart actually looks heavy to me. But it's been, the management of Uber has been fantastic. Maybe they get some collaborations. Obviously, I don't know if it's going to be with Tesla, but the Waymo, they're already trying to collaborate too. So it'll be interesting to see. So how this works itself out.
Okay.
8:32. Eric's in the background. Bring Eric in here early because he's ready to go, and I don't like people waiting here. So let's do it.
Okay. All right. Let me get this going here. Eric Krull, the author of the Lifecycle Trade. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning. It's good to see you guys again.
Yeah, it's been a little while here. Not much has gone on in the markets, right? We had that period where there was a lot of IPOs, there were SPACs, there were no IPOs, but things have really changed here in the IPO market with interest rates not really moving around that much.
It's been more exciting in the last few weeks, last few months. We're starting to see some IPOs come out and make some big moves, and we'll talk about some of those. But it's good to see it perking up. One of the things that's happening is the number of IPOs is up from the prior year, but the amount of money raised is down, so they're smaller. We haven't had too many big ones, and we're looking forward to some potential ones that they keep rumored to be coming out, but they still wait in the background.
All right, we see that spike in 2021, 2022.
You gotta add the charts here.
I
got them.
Yeah,
you got them.
Okay, I'll add them, Joe. We both add at the same time. It's like two people walking down the road at the same time, so they're on here. It's gone now.
Okay.
Eric, can you add your screen somehow?
No, I got it here. I just got to do a different screen share. Let me go to.
No, it's right off, Joel. It's gone. Eric's gonna have to reshare it.
Yeah.
We normally have the Brentster running all this in the background, so here we go. Joel's got it now. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
We got it.
Yeah, so you can see we had that big spike in 2021, and then the market just died, and it's been slowly coming back a little bit. And this year, through June, that bar is running ahead of last year. But again, in terms of size, they're just a little bit smaller than normal. But I do expect to see the activity continue to pick up, and that's a good thing. We always like to see new stocks coming out, and it portends a good thing for the market when that happens.
Yeah, but don't people also look at it the other way, like the we're just frothy, It's just like all these wild IPOs. It's just another top in the market. How about taking the other side of the coin on that one?
Well, until we start getting numbers, if we start seeing that histogram build up and start getting 300 to 400 IPOs, that's a different story. Right now, we're still at a low level relative to on average, and so I don't think we're looking at frothy yet.
Okay, best performing IPOs since January 2024.
Yes, this is where we're starting to see some new material. Now, we've talked about nanonuclear and when I've been on here in the past, and those are those small nuclear reactor, modular reactor stocks, and they've been choppy. Those have been hard to invest in. And for me, I don't invest in them. I watch them, especially because they don't have any sales yet. When somebody finally sells one of these small modular reactors, that is going to kick into high gear, I think. But I'm looking at more like the newest ones, like Circle Internet Group, which is number 4 on the list, Reddit number 5, and also Rubrik, and then CoreWeave, which has been number 2 there on the list. CoreWeave's been outstanding.
Yeah,
All
well,
right,
let's start
and
with Circle here because this stock has just been like I've never seen an IPO before. I mean, this thing was like priced at $35, opens up at 69. It's 10 days later, and it's $246 here this morning. I mean, it just does not stop. I mean, this might be the year of the IPO. Is it just retail feeding frenzy off of this? Like, what's the driver here, Eric? Because this is like seems like one of the best ones ever.
Yeah, if you pull up the next slide, you can see the short term. You can see the chart. And what's interesting about that, you see on a daily basis there, it does what a lot of IPOs do. It rockets up a little bit, then it starts to pull back, and then you see that dotted line I drew. That's the place where you can first buy an IPO, where it's formed a base and it breaks out, and then it just took off. And you're right, there's very few that do this. This is what we call one of the rare jewels. It gains more than 100% in the first 90 days of trading, and only like 5 to 6% of all IPOs do that. So this is rare, and it did it, and it just kept going. And but the other thing, like you mentioned, when you price before it gets out on the market itself, and then it doubles by the time it opens, those don't happen often. And this has been one of those that I think it's feeding on the frenzy of AI. And you're looking at a hot industry and a hot stock in a hot industry. You go back to the beginning of the internet world when like Amazon first came out, and Yahoo way back when, and eBay. We look at this one as a rocket ship. And my friend and co-author Eve Bobach said the best precedent for this one is eBay. So if you go back to the early days of eBay, you can see this tracks pretty well with that.
Wow.
And what's happened to those stocks in the long run?
Yeah, in the long run, stocks like this, many of them go through a big pullback. I mean, we can pull up Amazon from the early days and see it pulled back 90%. And so you have to have fast sell rules when you're a rocket ship. And fast sell rules include things like, if it goes below the 21-day EMA by 3%, you maybe sell half. And if it goes below the 50-day moving average by 3%, then you sell another half. And you might hold a small core, a quarter position for a longer term. But when there are rocket ships like this, you have to use fast rules. We might as well talk about Circle Internet Group on the far right of this same chart. Similar type occurrence. It didn't have the pullback of CoreWeave. It formed as the quick, and this is a daily chart, IPO base, and then broke out from that. This could be another rocket ship. And again, when you up this 100% in less than 90 days, and obviously this one did, you're looking at potential another rocket ship. You got to use fast rules. We have another rule we call the Everest rule, which looks at the number of gaps you have. It looks like how many days up in a row. And then on a stock like that, you go back and you go look at what's the low of the last 2 days, and then you put that as a trailing stop line, because these go up fast. But Joel, like you said, what happens to them? Many of them come down fast. We have a group of stocks we call one-hit wonders where they peak like this. Tilray is a famous one-hit wonder in my book, where they just go straight up, they get hot, and then they come back, and then they're done. So these are stocks that are definitely worth watching. Definitely acting better, like Dennis said, in the IPO world than we've seen in a long time, and it's a good thing.
Let's talk about this Reddit. It had the the IPO, the consolidation phase, an unbelievable run here. This is on looking at the middle chart here on the weeklies, and it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 down weeks in a row. Now it's establishing a little bit of a pattern here. Does this fit the script for any of your scenarios in the life cycle trade?
Yes, it does. And in terms of the way this stock worked, it had that period of time on the lower part we call the due diligence phase. It went into the IPO advance phase, and then it's a heavy correction. And now it's that heavy correction. You'd like to see some support, and it's formed a kind of a rough base. It's kind of wide, and it tried to break out last week, and came back in. I'd like to see it form maybe a little handle here and then break out. And this would be an institutional advance if it could do it. And Reddit's been interesting because they got hooked in with the AI world, right? And that's the hot industry. And it could go on for a second advance. We'll have to see. But
when do earnings matter? When do earnings really matter with these stocks?
Eventually, they start mattering. In Reddit's case, I would think that they have to start mattering now. I mean, because you have to, once you have the first big advance, now you're in the prove it phase. Show me what you really have. And Circle Internet and CoreWeave, they have some time to where they can show what their earnings. But right now, I think they're kind of in the feeding frenzy mode, both CoreWeave and Circle. But Reddit's in the, you better show me now that you have real earnings.
Do you pay any attention to insider sells on things like this? I mean, you see insider buys are a lot different, right? They're buying their company either to support the company if it's going through a rough patch. But I mean, what about some of these executives in the company? Taking stock off, or I'm not sure these have done many offerings here. Do you look for any tells from the inside here on when these stocks may be getting? I mean, I remember what Alex Karp sold some Palantir, and everyone made a huge deal out of it. I think it dipped from 120 to 110, and you see where that stock is today. So talk about a view from the inside.
I don't track insider sells very much because for one reason, when you're a executive in one of these companies, you may have a lot of reasons to sell. You have one reason to buy, and that's you think it's going up. But for selling, you might be buying that second home, you might that third home, you might be sending kids to college. And most of the time, an insider, if they sell, you want to see it recover in 2 days to 2 weeks. If the CFO sells and leaves, that's a different story. But other than that, I don't pay much attention to insider sells. We do pay attention to lockup periods. Many times it's 6 months to 1 year after they go public. And you might see some periods, some stocks where they run into some turbulence for a while, right around the lockup period expiring. But I don't pay attention in general to insider sells.
All right. So what do we have to look for the rest of the year?
Boy, I keep bringing these same stocks up. I think I didn't change the slide for the last time I was here 4 months ago. The StubHub's the only one of these that is actually filed, but they don't seem to be wanting to come out very quickly. The rest of them, I'd be really interested in SpaceX and Starlink, especially SpaceX. I mean, they have really no competition right now. And I thought that was so unfortunate when Elon and Trump got into that Twitter war. And he said, they were going to decommission the SpaceX rocket. That was just so disastrous. Hopefully they buried the hatchet on that. But I'd be most interested in those when they go public. StubHub, maybe. I'm not a fan of StubHub because when I buy tickets, I hate those fees.
Boy, I know.
And maybe someday they'll be regulated to where they can't charge as much for fees. But that's been rumored to go public now for a while. Discord would be an interesting one. But these would be the ones I'd watch for when they finally announce.
It's always the retail darlings. They like the ones they talk about on social media. Those are the ones that usually get these big moves, correct? Like if it's like some smaller company nobody knows about, it's rare for those ones to see moves. Or is it the opposite where sometimes something gets enlisted and people didn't know about this company and then it goes? Like, what are the ones like you really really see the moves in typically? Is it usually the ones that like a SpaceX? Like, I mean, everybody's been talking about that, trading that, the volumes would be crazy. Starlink, same thing because of Musk. Is that usually where the focus is?
Yes, I agree with you. It's usually not the small names. It usually is the ones that have a lot of presence and a lot of people know about them. And they build up a little bit of that feeding frenzy when they go public, but not the small ones. I mean, there aren't too many IPOs that go up a lot in the first 90 days. Like I said, 5 or 6% go up 100%. The rest don't. Only 24, 25% of IPOs even get to the point where they trade $20 million a day and are liquid. 75 to 76% don't. So it's there aren't many, and you want to see the ones that have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Presence, or just activity, people that know about them. And SpaceX fits that. So does Starlink.
What is your appetite for possible foods here? I mean, I look at the Beyond Meat chart, and
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Dennis, you've had that Impossible Whopper before, right? I think you said it wasn't too bad. I mean, holy mackerel! I'm not sure I'd want to be the underwriter on that stock because that's been rumored for a while too. Correct?
I agree with you. If it came out 2 to 3 years ago, different story. I'm not sure how much the market for vegetable products, that are supposed to
Yeah.
imitate beef, is anymore. It seemed to be hot 3 years ago. I think they missed their opportunity.
Yeah. Late to the party here.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, Eric, let's just talk. Let's just talk about the macro environment that we're in here. Things going on in several different fronts politically. I mean, IPOs. I guess they don't care, right? They keep humming along. They're coming out. I mean, can't complain about the timing for CoreWeave or Circle or things like that. Um, Interest rates, you were thinking, hey, maybe the financing on these deals and stuff. It just seems if they're surviving in this kind of macro environment, they can survive in just about any.
Yeah, you bring up some good points there. I do think that sometimes when you get events like the attack on Iran, the nuclear sites, that might slow things down for just a short time. But interest rates have been holding, and it looked like people are getting used to that. And I think I think the IPO market's still growing. I don't think they pay much attention to the interest rates now. And the political things with the tariffs, that was, rocking things around. A choppy market stops stocks from going public. But as we settle down, I think the IPO market heats up.
Well, one more question before you go, Eric. How does SPACs fit into because remember when we had SPACs going off in 2020 and it was almost like replacing the IPO there for a while. Now you don't hear anything about SPACs. If SPACs start picking up again, does that hurt IPOs? Like companies want to go public through a SPAC instead of an IPO? Is it direct competition or does it just feed the whole thing? Do you have any, research basically SPACs versus IPOs?
Yes, I did a lot of research on it on the SPACs back in 2021, 2022. That first chart I showed we were up to almost 400 IPOs that year. There were an additional 450 SPACs. The vast majority were awful in terms of how they performed price-wise after a while. There's a few exceptions. DraftKings is one. But for the most part, I think if the SPAC market heats up, because it was so recent in our memories and because most of them performed so poorly, I think that would actually hurt the market. If we start seeing SPACs coming out again, we'll go back to what Joel said earlier. Then I think that's a sign of frothiness because they did so poorly, and the types of companies that came out via SPACs were not high quality. So I know there's more coming out now, and I hope, in my opinion, I hope they don't come out that way.
Eric Krull, co-author of the Lifecycle Trade, joining us here on PreMarket Prep, getting us updated on the IPO market. Eric, always a pleasure to have you on. Well prepared, very informative. We'll get you back again here on PreMarket Prep. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you again.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. Let's go to some ratings here at 8:50 here, approaching the last 10 minutes of the show. And Estee Lauder catches an upgrade from Deutsche
Michael
Bank.
Burry will like that. Look at this Michael
know,
Burry guy.
I
Sells
know.
every single stock in his long-term portfolio and just buys Estee Lauder. 100% in on Estee Lauder. Now he's probably a lot of cash, but there's only stock as of now. We don't know that. That was as of March 31st. So much probably has changed since then. But yeah, Deutsche Bank gives an upgrade. So Michael Burry's got a big smile on his face. It was born 76.70 here. I mean, this stock has been an epic disaster though. So obviously we've got a story here where, Deutsche Bank's believing that this is a comeback story. I'm just looking at the note quickly. Steve Powers, thank you, Street Insider, upgrading, putting a price target of $95. They're upgrading Estee Lauder stock to buy, increasing evidence that EL's strategy is diversifying well beyond China and for future growth, underpinned by moves to accelerate innovation and migrates decision making geographically closer to where business gets done. I believe that EL's heavy investments requirements have been largely fulfilled, such that go forward top line growth can be better leveraged to the benefit of margin and profit recovery. So
if you had followed Michael Berry into that trade back in on May 19th, you're doing okay. That day or around that day, closed around 65, 66 bucks here. Now up, knocking on the door 77. Did had some resistance at 75 area. Took that out. Now trading in the 76 handles. So if new support or old resistance can act as a new support. Look at this, pick it up on the cheap, maybe at 75, but right now just trading off to see if we got a pre-market high here. Pre-market high is higher than this. If you want to look for the pre-market high, that comes in at 77, 74. AMD getting some love on Wall Street. Dennis, you've been
nonstop.
talking about this one for a while.
Yeah, still long into my long-term account. It's one of my biggest positions. I wish I still had all the extra stock that I bought at $81 because now it's 131. I just think this is the way to play AI going forward because I think not that AMD is going to be number one, but there's such a gap between number one and number two. AMD, $200 billion market cap. Number one, obviously NVIDIA, $3.5 trillion. I believe Lisa Su is going to find her way eventually. I think it's a lot easier for AMD to double than for NVIDIA to double, simply because it's easier for a $200 billion stock to double than a $3.5 trillion stock to double. Melius upgrading the stock to buy, riding the AI inferencing wave is the title of the note. Also getting positive commentary from Edgewater here this morning. So AMD off to the races again. I was long it over the weekend. I bought extra shares, rewarded for that as well. Stock trading up 2.5% here in the pre-market, looking like it wants to break out. I mean, this stock has been unbelievable for the last 2 weeks or 2
big move
months.
early last week, and then little quiet consolidation. Hit a new high for the move on Friday at 132.81. So you got the good news. It's up $3, probably around the average range here. But if you're looking for a nice juicy target here, last week's high 132.81. If you're holding out longer term like Triple D, I mean, you got a long like 220 to 80. Well, what's that? 140, 70-point move. That take you back, 50% retracement, take you back to the 150, 160 area. Also, probably adding to the positive momentum for this one a little bit. Barron's did the top CEOs in the country, and Lisa Su was on that list. So AMD having a good day, trading over 131 bucks. A word seldom heard from Wall Street analysts: sell, and that's what you're getting here. Dow Inc. It is
And they don't even
40.
use sell, they use underperform because they don't like to use the word, but it's the same thing. Yeah. BMO downgrading Dow to underperform as elongated down cycle pressures financials. So there's note here. One thing to consider on DOW, the dividend now, Joel, guess how much the dividend yield is on Dow Chemical?
12%.
It's 10.2%.
Okay, wow.
The stock has been in the gutter. And I mean, this is approaching now a 5-year low. We're back down to where we were during COVID time. So Dow Chemical absolutely hated. 10.26% dividend is nice, but whenever they get over 6-7%, you start thinking, is the dividend safe? Obviously, BMO is thinking it is not safe. I don't know if they comment on the dividend, but they're just commenting on earnings expectations. Just looking through it. Oh, they did. Despite actions taken to support cash flow, BMO flagged the potential risk to the dividend with no end in sight for these. And I don't know, just going through it.
Yeah.
Heightened risk is what they're saying that Dow may cut the dividend.
Horrible.
So they think they may cut the dividend.
Horrible relative performance.
Oh my
down.
gosh.
Yeah, awful. Look at this. Not far from its April low. If you were looking to buy this at the June low, your next daily low that comes into play is 26.49. That was buffeted by a low at 26.85. So that's another 50 cents away. 3-day losing streak, just kind of hanging out here. So not good there. For Dow Chemical, Craig Hallam downgrades OKLO,
Yeah, the stock
OKLO.
can't even go down. Like it's up. This stock, the retail darling that it is, I don't know where the path for profitability is here on Oklo. I don't even know where the path for sales is, to be honest with you. But it's, the hot stock, the story stock, the nuclear trade stock. Valuations here, just might as well forget about them because there's no path to profitability here anytime soon. Let's go look. Oklo, I'm just looking and bringing it up.
I was
Yeah,
looking at
market
it
cap
too.
is $8 billion. Sales are basically nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. So they're obviously going to get some sales here, I think, eventually. But this is a story, folks. It's a story, and it doesn't have any valuation support here. So hopefully, at some point in time, there'll be some fundamentals to support the story here. But right now, this is just a story.
Okay. All right. So that's is that about it? Any other downgrades or and I see JP Morgan initiating the gaming casino sector. DraftKings at a overweight, up 33 cents. It's had a nice rally. I haven't been talking much about these stocks as of late, but DraftKings up, trading up 33 cents. Dennis, we got some bids emerging here in the market.
Yeah,
We were
buy the dip. They can't
chopping
sell.
around unchanged. Oil goes to the red. This market just shrugs off everything.
It shrugs off everything. It's just what it does. This market is just the most silver lining market of, like, if you actually had the definition, like in the trader dictionary, silver lining market, it'd have a picture of today's market. This market fights off war, tariffs, everything, just wants to go up, and it's just so much bad news, but it just continues to find a way. So hard to be bearish in a tape that just wants to go higher, but lots of fundamental reasons. Climbing the wall of worry. That is what this market continues to do. They're talking SMCI in the chat here, which we did not mention. They announced a proposed $2 billion convertible offering here. Obviously, convertible offerings are dilutive if those bondholders do convert. Stocks trading down 3.5% here. I've been liking it on the chart. I kind of like it on the chart, but offerings are never something that stock's going to rally on.
No. In this stock, I mean, it just can't get over this 45 hump. I see it. Look at the multiple highs in here since May. Also had some problems in this area in March, and it's made quite a few stabs. And even on Friday, you're probably feeling pretty good, right? Because you got up, made a recent high. Now, not quite the recovery high, and then it gets knocked back down again. The next daily low comes in at 42.91. But I mean, I'm not fading this down $1.50. But if you've been looking to get into this thing, I mean, 44.14. If it gets back above 44.14, that was your low on Friday. I think the street is just gonna shrug this off. Unchanged will be important at 45.32. That's been the highest one of the highest closes since making that low in April. 8:59. Dennis, any final thoughts here as the market just seems to just be so resilient once again today, trading in the green after all the bad news over the weekend.
And this is just what this market does. Silver lining market finds a way. I mean, it's frustrating if you're a bear for sure. But if you're a bull, the song remains the same. Buy the dip. I mean, I don't know what changes that. I think there's a lot of bad things coming in the second half, but this is not the second half. There's still 7 days left in the first half. So I think what my story is I thought June was going to be a good month for stocks. It started as a good month, and the war has kind of poo-pooed it a little bit here. I still think there's a rug pull in the second half. So I've got lots of cash in the long-term account, but trading from the long side. Still buying dips and selling rips. Fade trade, Fintel, further notice.
All right. Tomorrow we'll be joined by Tim Quas, market structure, not a Monday, but a Tuesday. We'll see how the option markets and stock markets are shaping up after the quad witch expiration. It was a choppy day on Friday, but we're kind of just stuck trying to really find support. Already found support at last week's low. So we'll see if the bulls can keep us green. And high of the move was the high of the rebound was made last week above 6,100. So got some areas to look at. Thanks for joining us here on Pre-Market Prep. Thank you for the $10 sticker.
Thank
Folks, have a great
you. Appreciate
trading
it, Krull.
day.
Thank you.
As I said, back with you tomorrow morning.